Offer valid on standard browsers, U.S. only.
When I heard about Date My Age, I thought, really? But there I was in my empty, quiet house, my laptop on the kitchen counter, and I typed in my name. Looking for a man between the ages of 40 to 60? Sure, why not?
Date My Age is different. With verified profiles, you can feel safe and secure to explore meaningful connections with interesting and mature singles.
Date My Age made it really easy. I could join and view online profiles for free. All of a sudden, my empty house wasn't so quiet anymore. I got so much attention, it just made me feel seen and alive. Date My Age helped me start a totally new chapter in my life.
Find a friend, a lover, a partner at Date My Age. Get 60% off when you join at datemyage.com today. That's datemyage.com to connect with thousands of singles worldwide. datemyage.com.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. It was a very, very busy day weekend over at Alec Box Stadium. A lot of baseball, 6 games over 3 days, but that wasn't all that was going on campus. Lots and lots of high-profile football recruiting visitors were in Baton Rouge over the weekend. To detail it all, we bring in our guy, Sonny Shipp from 24/7 Sports. Sonny, how are you, sir?
Doing good, man. How about you, brother?
Well, I'd have been better if LSU had won a baseball game last night, and I'll be fine if they win one tonight. But as of right now, I'm a little testy, a little nervous. It's just,
if you're gonna lose, don't make me stay up till after midnight. And for you guys who are actually having to be there, rolling into the house at 3:00 in the morning after taking an L like that. I mean,
my wife is not thrilled. My wife's not thrilled with the time that I've arrived home the last 3 nights. That's not in her wheelhouse, but she gets another one tonight, so here we are. Bath time's on her this evening. All right, let's talk some recruiting and some visitors. I think the highest profile name is Bo Bentley. Saw a picture of he and Garrett Nussmeier up in Tiger Stadium. Just kind of give us a breakdown of who he is and where that whole thing stands.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at recruiting boards and what LSU's what their needs are and who their top targets are, I mean, every class needs a quarterback. Bo Bentley, the number 7 quarterback in the country, 6'2", about 205. A dual threat dude, though. He ran for over just under 1,000 yards at Salina, Texas last year, threw for over 3,500, and just scored responsible for a lot of touchdowns. And getting him in town on the first weekend like this, especially coming on the heels of your competition for him is Oklahoma. He goes there next weekend, so you get the first crack to impress him. And from all accounts, Joe Sloan and the staff, blew it out of the park. They feel LSU was in a good spot going into this visit. The 24/7 Sports staff placed a crystal ball pick on LSU with him, and I think a confidence level 6 out of 10, if I'm not mistaken, which is about average, about par for the course. But, and so you're able to just kind of build on the momentum that you kind of had going into the visit. And so considering where he is and how prominent of a prospect he is on the board, you got to really feel good about where you sit right now coming off of the weekend.
It's weird that LSU has kind of become this destination for quarterbacks over the course of the last 10 years. I realized the way things went at the end with Bryce Underwood, I'm not blaming Joe Sloan and Brian Kelly for that one bit. And now they're right back in the mix for another really high-profile quarterback, and then, of course, a couple in the years to follow. Can you kind of speak to Joe Sloan, Brian Kelly, and how they've been able to recruit quarterbacks? I would even toss Michael Van Buren out of the transfer portal in that mix.
Yeah, and I mean, look, you start with Jaden Daniels, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you bring Jaden Daniels in on your, so early in the process. You get him when you get to town, but Bryce Underwood, you had that situation that he did, but I go back and I look at all the top quarterbacks that Joe Sloan brings into camps, that he gets on campus on unofficial visits. I mean, there was a time, like you said, go back to 2014, man. You remember the quarterback situation then?
Yeah.
Probably the second least most dire situation back to when you have to go back to the early 90s when you had Saul Graves, Chad Loop, and Jesse Daigle. And so to see how far the recruiting has come in just 10 years, you got Joe Burrow, you got Jaden Daniels, you got 2 Heisman Trophy quarterbacks right there. And then you fast forward and you look ahead to 2027, 2028. And I think Joe Sloan is just relentless on the trail. And having the history that LSU has had of the recent success of Burrow and Daniels obviously helps. But I think Joe Sloan is a huge part of why he's got LSU in the picture of so many prominent quarterbacks.
Let's move away from quarterbacks. A couple names here that I wanted to mention were Calvin Russell and Jaden Crimpton. Can you tell us about those two and how their weekends apparently went?
Yeah, LSU, you look at the wide receiver position, you got Jabari Mack, you got Tristan Keys, number 1 wideout in the country. You got Kenny Darby, who visited Alabama over the weekend, made a few headlines with I'm going to make my final decision in July, kind of thing. But, And so you don't really look at the wide receiver position and say, man, LSU is, LSU really, how many more spots do they have is what you think of. But Calvin Russell, 5-star, number 3 wideout in the country out of South Florida. Going into the visit, I think most people felt that, getting him out of the Sunshine State was going to be tough. I think now you're going to start seeing a lot more pro-LSU talk coming out of the Russell camp. Some of that, I think some of that is obviously due to the tradition LSU has. You're building such a strong wide receiver class right here that they already have. But also, Cortez Hankton has just really, he's kind of locked in and zeroed in on a few guys in this class that, some people are kind of surprised that, oh, wow, LSU is as big of a player right here. Tristan Keys, everybody knew that LSU was in the mix, but he visits and then commits. And everybody's like, whoa, where did that come out of? No one had him on commit watch going into that unofficial visit to LSU. So, I think you really have to tip your hat to Cortez Hankton and the job that he's done recruiting that position in this cycle.
What about Jaden Crimpton?
Yeah, big offensive lineman out of Prosper, Texas. Will Campbell, I remember hearing a story about Will Campbell's agent is actually from the area and knows the Crimpton family and stuff. And so that's a little, I don't know how much that really comes into play here, but just a little, one little LSU connection. But he's a guy who visited Ohio State, visited a couple of other places, been to LSU several times. And I think when you look at offensive linemen and you start saying, okay, who is LSU going to add to go with Briston Martinez, to go with Jalen Chapman? I think Jaden Crimpton is now at the top of the list right there. Emmanuel Iheanacho is another 5-star offensive lineman who was in town also this weekend. But looking at and trying to kind of forecast of who LSU has the best shot at that position, I think it lies with Crimpton right now.
Jamarian Carlton is also a name that I saw y'all said visited. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, big 5-star defensive lineman out of Texas. He's actually got a commitment date already set. And so Calvin Russell does too. He's another one who's going to be committing right around July 4th in that time frame. But, Carlton and Trenton Henderson is another big 5-star defensive end edge guy who was also on campus this weekend. And, those two guys right there, you've got Lamar Brown right there. When you look at the defensive end position, you say, okay, LSU just, you can't let Lamar Brown get out of the state. You already got, you got one of the best tackles in the country, Richard Anderson, in your backyard at Edna Carr. You've already got him on board. And if you can get those two at those two positions, and then you go out and then you bring another out-of-state guy in at that position. I mean, you're talking about some really elite level class that LSU can pull in, looking at the board that they have. And Henderson and Carlton are two guys at that defensive line / edge position that fit that mold. Who, coming off of this weekend, I think you'll, I think you'll see LSU when they start saying, okay, here's my top 5, here's my final 4. I think you'll see LSU make a strong push into all of those cuts.
It's kind of remarkable to me in this first weekend how many 5-star players LSU had on campus in this one class. Do you think that was among the best in the country? Is that fair to say?
Man, I tell you what, you had multiple, but I know Miami had Tristan Keys down there this weekend, and also Lamar Brown.
Okay.
So that's 2 5-stars right there. But I think you could put this LSU visit list that was, I'm trying to pull it off the top of my head, I think a dozen deep. Since the one kid couldn't make it in. But, when you compare that visit list to other schools around the country, it's going to be hard to say, okay, I think this one right here looks more impressive.
What's your confidence level Tristan Keys sticks with his commitment when signing day comes?
I think when I say it has a Decorian Moore feel to it, I don't mean in the sense of him being, I guess, like as imminent maybe of a flip as we kind of started seeing the tea leaves, reading the tea leaves and getting those feels on Decorian Moore. I think Tristan Keys is going to be a little bit different of a situation because of, grew up an LSU fan right there in Hattiesburg. LSU's got some ties with some staff members to the area and to the school and stuff. And so, I do think it's going to be one of those situations to where it's going to go down to the end. He may stay committed the whole time, but there's not a doubt in my mind that once we hit December, we're going to be looking at another announcement date, if not before that.
That's just the way things go. I think everybody's...
That's the way things are, man,
I think everybody's conditioned to it, too. I don't think it shocks anybody when those things kind of happen. It just is what it is. We appreciate...
But I will say, hey, I will add this, though. I think with LSU fans, I think if you look at where the football program is now and where the NIL force is right now compared to where it was a year ago at this time, when you had Decorian Moore, when you had Bryce Underwood, and you had some of those situations come up, LSU is in a much better situation to be able to address those issues, to be able to come with more better offers, higher offers, to be able to come with the things that they need to offset what the other schools are selling them. And so, while that's become the nature of the game, I think LSU fans should feel a lot better about where they are now as opposed to where they were just a year ago.
Yeah, just as long as Oracle doesn't get involved, I think LSU will be okay. But once Oracle shows up, you might be in some trouble.
Yeah, Jerry Jones. Look, if Jerry Jones wants a guy, to go to Arkansas, come on, how you gonna beat that? Come on, unless Todd Graves sees a quarterback that he wants to see at LSU,
Chicken versus oil and gas and the Cowboys, beautiful thing. Sonny, we appreciate some time, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, brother. Have a good one, man.
You too. Me is Sonny Shipp, 24/7 Sports, all over the recruiting. If you're looking for coverage, go 24/7. Great spot. Glenn West with us on Tuesday. He's been up at the box the last couple of days, and Sonny's all over the recruiting side. Big weekend for LSU as far as visitor goes, so I wanted to check in on that. But let's transition back to baseball when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com, airline at Piku near Woman's Hospital. Every single model in the Genesis line, all of them, entry level to the highest end, was given the IHA top safety pick. All of them. Some got top safety pick plus. When you get behind the wheel of a Genesis, when your family gets into a Genesis, you are in one of the safest vehicles on the road. It's easy when you get into test drive to feel the comfort, to see how wonderful the drive is. You can demo all the wonderful features. That's all easy to see. Safety, probably need somebody to test that. You can take their word to the bank when you're talking about an IHA top safety pick. It's one of the safest vehicles on the road. If that's very important to you in your next vehicle purchasing situation, go buy Genesis, airline at Piku, or check out that entire inventory at genesisofbatonrouge.com. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge, online at genesisofbatonrouge.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. All your printing, scanning, copying needs, check them out at Gulf Coast Office Products. GCOPnet.com is where you can find them. Okay, LSU and Little Rock tonight. The team can't do this. Jay Johnson won't do this. And I understand that we could be 10 hours from this being a completely worthless discussion. However, as it stands, I think it's reasonable to have this discussion with you, the LSU fan, if you're not aware of this. LSU on this bracket that I've got printed out from last week is on the right-hand side. And this right-hand side is who LSU is competing with to get to the national final. So all the teams on the left side of this sheet of paper, LSU can't play them until the national championship series. Everybody on the right, LSU is in line with. The top of this bracket is Texas. They're out. UTSA has won that regional. Then you've got the Los Angeles regional where UCLA won. I think UCLA is a fine team. I don't think they're great. Then you've got Ole Miss, who's playing Murray State tonight to stay alive. The Racers could come out of that regional. Then you've got Georgia, who's out. Then you've got LSU. Then you've got Clemson, who's out. West Virginia's won that regional. And then you've got Tennessee, who's playing for their life today against Wake Forest. And then you've got Arkansas. Already on LSU's side of a potential Omaha bracket. I know they still have to get there, but we're talking about it. On LSU's Omaha side of the bracket, Texas is out. Ole Miss is on the ropes. Georgia's out. Clemson's out. Tennessee's on the ropes. This thing is breaking in a positive way for LSU. Now, still, in your first game in Omaha, you would have to play the winner of the Arkansas regional, which is Arkansas, and then either Tennessee or Wake, and that's not going to be a layup no matter what. But Georgia's gone. Texas is gone. I don't think UCLA is that great, and Ole Miss is playing Murray State. And that's your Omaha bracket. 2 years ago, when you went up there, you had to go through the number one team in the nation, Wake Forest, played them 3 times, and Tennessee, who led the nation in ERA. Like, that is a tough draw. And then when you got out of that, you played Florida, who was the 3rd best team in the country. I think LSU was the best team. I think Wake was 2nd. I think Florida was 3rd. That was as brutal a run-through as you could get when you got to Omaha. There was no Kent State up there. There was no Indiana up there. There was no Stony Brook up there. It was really tough stuff. And I'm not here to completely dismiss Duke or completely dismiss UTSA or completely dismiss Ole Miss. But those teams don't look like that Wake team looked. And that's what, to me, personally, made last night so jarring. Because I was sitting there in the afternoon looking at that, going, oh my gosh, they're out, and they're out, and they're out, they're out. Murray State, UTSA. I mean, you're in this thing. I know that there are a lot of LSU fans today that are rightly frustrated and shocked by what they watched last night. I know that. But you can't discount the fact that the team still does include Anthony Ianson and Cade Anderson. And if you can find a way tonight to beat Little Rock, they're back in action at home. And these are the teams on your side of this bracket. There is some real potential in this tournament. And yeah, the offense goes cold sometimes. And yeah, the back end of the bullpen gives you the heebie-jeebies. But it's still there. And I keep doing this because there's probably some other LSU fans that are sitting this going, we're going to beat freaking Little Rock tonight. You had Case and Evans going, Zach Collins. We're going to hit some. We're going to beat Little Rock at home. And some probably dismissing it. I'm a little terrified, personally. I'm just giving you my thoughts. I know y'all think I'm a Debbie Downer, but I keep going back to this. And this is what is giving me solace today. I told you at the top of the show, I have a pit in my stomach the size of a watermelon right now. Because the day after LSU's baseball season ends is not a good day in my headspace. That is an abyss until they put helmets and shoulder pads on in August that I don't like diving into. I'd like to run this thing out a little bit. I keep coming back to this. LSU is 45-15. Got 3rd place in the Southeastern Conference, won 7 of 10 SEC series. Little Rock is 27-33. They're the lowest RPI team in the field. They're playing their 5th game in 4 days. In that stadium, including last night, LSU is 32-6. LSU this season has only lost back-to-back games to the same team twice. They got swept at Auburn, counting that as one, and they lost back-to-back games at Texas. That's it. In that stadium, no one has beaten LSU 2 games in a row. So I feel like, personally, there's a better likelihood that LSU wins the game tonight by 8 than loses. But this is baseball. This is the sport where the underdog has the greatest shot. And that's why Fresno State won a national championship. That's why Coastal Carolina won a national championship. And that's why, as I sit here today, Vanderbilt and Texas and Georgia are home. It's just an unpredictable sport. Now, I've had people text me today the money line on this game, and you can catch better than 10-1 on Little Rock winning. So if you'd like to throw $100 down to win 1,000 as an emotional hedge, I saw somebody say I can put this down, win a G if I'm miserable tonight and Little Rock beats LSU. You can get down on that in an emotional hedge. But there's just not much I can point to that would suggest that this is favorable to Little Rock. If I tried, I would say they won 5 games in 4 days last week. They've scored 40 runs in the last 3 games, and they're playing with nothing to lose. Like that's the side of the coin for Little Rock. The side of the coin for LSU is much better roster, much more consistent all year, much fresher, better pitching. I mean, I asked last night, Shohei Ohtani, masquerading around as Angel Cano, said, hey, I haven't seen all your games, but imagining that Nude at 94 and Shores at 100 is more velocity than y'all have seen. Is there an adjustment? And his eyes look up, he's like, yeah, it is an adjustment. But you just got to make the adjustment and do it. He didn't have a lot of trouble. He hit Nude off the scoreboard and ripped Shores down in the corner. But Case and Evans is going to be throwing 97 miles an hour to start things off today. Now, Cowan won't, but that's elite college command. And Zach Cowan gives me a lot of confidence tonight. Why? Why does Zach Cowan give me a lot of confidence tonight? He's been hit in 3 of his last 4 outings. Got hit at Texas A&M twice. Got hit at Columbia. Why would I give you confidence? Well, because Zach Cowan doesn't walk people. Zach Cowan has 10 walks on the season. Zach Cowan has issued multiple walks in 1 outing this year. I don't know if Zach Cowan's going to go out there and throw 5 shutout innings or give up 5 runs in 2 innings. I don't know what he's going to do when he gets out there tonight. But I know he's going to throw it over the plate. And Little Rock's team has not been good offensively all year until the last 72 hours. And LSU's defense has made 1 error the whole weekend. This LSU defense is elite. The middle infield's elite. Braswell's playing good at third. The outfield can really run. Like, LSU is playing great defense, and the ball should be in play with Zach Cowan out there. Now, Evans has walked 7 in his last, let me look, I wrote this on LouisianaSports.net in my preview, which you can read over there for free if you'd like. I wrote how many Evans had walked, which is a little bit higher than you would like. He walked, well, I can't find it. I think it's 7 and 8 in the last 8 and a third, something or 9 and a third, something like that. Like, that's a little bit higher than you want. In a couple of his last 3 outings, he's walked 3. But you've got to throw the ball over the plate. I think Evans will do that. I know Cowan will. Will they hit it? I can't tell you. South Carolina hit 2 triples and a homer. A&M hit a triple and a homer. But he didn't walk anybody. So that's job 1 tonight, is make sure that you don't walk 11 guys and have 8 of them come in to score like you did last night. Because that's just handing it to them. It's going to be really interesting to get in that stadium tonight and see kind of what the vibes are. Is LSU as loose as Little Rock? Do they come out and attack, light up attack's pitching staff? Or do things get real tense real quick? Because from the 3rd inning on last night, it was tense in that building. If you were there, you know that. If you were watching on TV, I'm sure you sensed it. I would rather be playing Little Rock tonight than North Carolina, like Oklahoma is. But that does add this mental element to it that doesn't exist if you're playing a team that you feel like is your peer. And I don't feel like Little Rock is LSU's peer. They sure beat the brakes off them last night. It's going to be interesting. And tomorrow, I'm either going to be in here lamenting the fact that you suffered the most embarrassing loss in program history and wasted the best 1-2 punch that you've had in my lifetime, or talking about how you are now in position to go make a run at this thing. Because I don't see a juggernaut out there. LSU's top 2 is as good as anybody. And if you win tonight, then hey, you got Zach Cowan and Kason Evans some work and some more at bats. Great. Let's go play on Friday or Saturday. And now all of a sudden, your season's not on the line, and you've got your guys back and ready to go. It's going to swing one way or another in a big, big way just before midnight tonight. There's an element of excitement. There's an element of nerves. I'm curious how y'all are feeling. Bayou Ford chat, if you're listening to me and not just chatting amongst yourself, tell me how you're feeling emotionally. Beck, how are you feeling emotionally about this game? You feel like, are you one of those that says it's Little Rock, they're going to win, don't sweat it, or you're like, this is a little dicey?
I was looking at your tweets last night and just the one about the pitcher that had a 10 ERA in the Ohio Valley.
Yeah, LSU couldn't hit him.
He went 5 1/3. It's just it makes me think, like, and just seeing all the other upsets that are happening, it's just, man, this is so much like March Madness. Like, you just never know what's going to happen. You never know what team is just going to have the perfect night and win. But look, if let's just say take the regional out of it. Let's just say LSU is going to play Coastal Carolina best of 3. Mm-hmm. Is LSU going to win 2? I mean, I would say there's no chance they don't win 2.
That actual year? That was in 2016?
Yeah.
Because they lost both games.
Yeah,
they got swept.
Yeah.
Lane gave up 4 homers in the first game.
So to me, it's like, okay, if that can happen.
The guy, Malcolm Brown, who shut LSU down last night, we talked to him in the media tent after the game. His son's first birthday was yesterday. And so when that child was born at the end of last baseball season, he went to his coach and said, "Coach, I don't think I can play anymore. I got to go get a job. I got a family now." And the coach talked him out of it, said, "Hey, how close are you to graduating?" Said, "Got a year left." Said, "Well, has anyone in your family ever graduated?" "No." "Okay, well, you could be the first. See if we can make this work." And they decided to do it. That's a great story in and of itself. But you're talking about a guy that nearly quit baseball.
Yeah.
To go get a job. And the coach asked him, "Well, what are you going to do?" And he's like, "I don't know. I'll just go get like that." That's the guy who came into the box last night and went 5 1/3. This is not somebody that came in there that's going to be a 3rd round pick of the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
It's a guy that just about quit to go do whatever, work construction.
Yeah. This is what is, it's hard to say as an LSU fan, but these are the stories that make college baseball and college basketball so cool, especially in the tournament.
If you're using the college basketball analogy, the walks LSU issued was essentially LSU turned the ball over 26 times last night,
Yeah.
and then Kano scored 36.
Yeah, and some guy on the team that averaged like 5 points a game, and he scored 30.
First of all, Kano went nuts in the game before that.
He did,
and then he did it again. So I just assumed. I grabbed the stat sheet when I got in the press box. I just assumed he had a monster year. He's a really good hitter.
No.
Nope, hitting 250. He did nothing in the Ohio Valley. He's hitting off the scoreboard. He's taking 100-mile-an-hour fastballs and hitting missiles into the corner. I don't know what I was watching last night. It was not what I was planning on watching.
Yeah, it was shocking.
I was up in the press box looking like a lunatic. I'm putting a rally hat on. I'm changing seats. I'm just trying to do anything I can do to help morale, and it's just not working.
Yeah, it's tough, but yeah, I am expecting LSU to win this game 10-2, but
oh God, would that make my life a happy place?
It would, but it's just if they can. If Little Rock is just, they seem destined for something.
That's just. I want them destined for Little Rock. Go home.
This is a great story. Now,
it's not a great story. The story sucks. I hate the story.
I'm saying it's a great story. Like if they make it this far, they lose. They lose anyway. It's still a good story either way. But
I got the sense from hearing Chris Curry, their coach, talk last night. Like he said, like he used terms like, when I took the job, I told people we can win at Little Rock, which basically meant like we've kind of accomplished where we thought we could potentially ever go. Like we went to the box and won a game. They get to a super. Goodness gracious, that'll be a fun show tomorrow. Let's not do that. Let's go to break. Let's talk Kirk Cousins of the Saints next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. How about a tub to shower conversion? Simple, time efficient, financially feasible. If you've got a big tub that takes up a lot of space that you don't use, or you've got an old dingy tub that's unsightly that you don't take a bath in, take it out. Put in a glass walk-in shower. It changes the look of your bathroom, functionality of your bathroom, adds value to your home. You spend a lot of time in your bathroom. Make it look beautiful. David Vaughn and his team can absolutely do that, and they can do it to your specs, to your custom fit. Check out the pictures of their fantastic work online at onebathandclosets.com, and then request that free consultation right there on the website. David's been at this 3 decades. He can come over, and I promise you they'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. You'll love working with David and his team. Make that call or check them out online today. It's One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Got a question in the Bayou Ford chat. Nick Marchand says, play Ianson a couple innings if need be. Is that possible? Possible, yes. I have no idea. I know what LSU's protocol is. They have testing, physical testing that they do on pitchers for what they call bounce back, how quickly you can go. They use it more for relievers. If you go 40, how many days off do you need before you're back to normal? If you go 60, how many do you need? If you go 12, what do you like? And they have that for everybody. For the starters, it's obviously a little bit of a different deal, but like last year, Gage Jump started on Friday and did come back and try to close out the game on Monday. Ianson threw 98 pitches on Friday. It is possible, but I have no idea what his bounce back thing is. So they'll certainly evaluate that. I just couldn't tell you how likely it is that it would happen, but I will not rule it out at all. So we'll see tonight what the case may be. All right, saw some odds for Kirk Cousins' next employer. Obviously, the Falcons threw some cash at him, and then 5 minutes later drafted Michael Penix. And then it looked like late in the season, that's the direction the Falcons are going to go. So Cousins will be on the move, and the Saints are among the 5 favorites to land Kirk Cousins. The question is, does that make any sense? And the answer is yes. It does make sense. I'm not talking about does it make sense to try to win the Super Bowl. I'm talking about does it make sense to bring in Kirk Cousins to your team in 2025. The Saints have some cash freed up, so they might be able to throw some money at him. And my only stipulation is no dollars on that contract in 2026. None. Zero. Because I don't care what you pay anybody in 2025. Because I don't think the Saints are going to be a great team in 2025. But if you can bring a guy in that over the course of his career has thrown for over 40,000 yards, I think that's worthwhile for Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shook. Kirk Cousins may be a little awkward in interviews, may have some moments on camera that aren't the coolest thing you've ever seen. Got it. May not have had immense playoff success. I don't care about any of that. He very, very clearly understands how to play quarterback in the National Football League. And he's done so with an incredibly high production rate for better than a decade. So I'm not talking about bringing in Kirk Cousins to go win the division. I'm talking about bringing in Kirk Cousins as someone in the facility with Tyler Shook and Spencer Rattler who can help them learn to be true professionals. I don't know what Derek Carr was helping Spencer Rattler with last year. Maybe a lot, maybe nothing. Couldn't tell you. but he's not there anymore. And I don't know how receptive Kirk Cousins would be to that role. So that's the side of this equation I don't have any information on. But if you're just giving me the surface level deal here, where you call Kirk Cousins and say, hey, we've got X money, got a little change dropped in our lap when Derek Carr retired, Ryan Ramczyk retired, like we got a little money, we can give you this for 1 year, but we don't think you're going to be the starter, but we'd like you to come in and be part of the team. That sounds great. If he's hell-bent on being the starter and is not going to help Tyler Shough or Spencer Rattler at all and just try to win the job, well, then I don't have any use for you. I need those guys to get experience on the field. But if you can come in and teach them how to handle a game week, teach them how to handle a game plan, teach them about some of the defensive coordinators in the league and what you've noticed here, what you've noticed there, what you did when this happened, what you did when that happened, how to handle your offensive line. If you just some of those things that Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler don't have, there's value in that. It's the same reason I'm fine signing Carson Wentz. The same reason if Teddy Bridgewater wants to play in the NFL, good. But make no mistake, like Teddy Bridgewater and Carson Wentz have made a lot of money in the NFL. Kirk Cousins has thrown for a lot of yards in the NFL. Kirk Cousins has won games. He's played in playoff games. There's value in what he has upstairs. And so, yeah, if that's something the Saints can work out for 1 year, I'm completely in. You might say, God, that guy's such a goober, played for the Falcons. I don't want any part of that. Like, that's not the point. We're trying to do everything we can to get to the next great Saints team. And if you think there's knowledge, wisdom, and some practices that can be taught from that guy that can help the quarterbacks that are currently in-house get to that point, I'm all in for that. Now, Cousins' productivity has gone off a cliff over the last couple of years, largely due to injuries, and he's 36 years old. He threw a career-high 16 picks last year in 14 games. Like, I get all that, but it's not what I'm talking about. I'm only talking about his ability as a leader and a mentor to younger players. And a guy that's got 13 years of experience throwing for 40,000-plus yards. That sounds great to me if the Saints can pull it off. Sounds like the Colts are probably the team to beat there. Would be another Falcon quarterback going to Indianapolis to ride off in the sunset there. Colts have taken Phillip Rivers and Matt. Like they've done this a good bit. But I'm in for this if you can make it work for 1 year and the dollars and cents make sense to Cousins. But I don't know what his emotional and mental mindset is regarding that kind of a role on a team. So we'll see what happens. If you're looking for Saints news, you can find it on our YouTube channel, Hunt on Saints. Ross Jackson doing a great job over at LouisianaSports.net. All your Saints coverage for free over there at LouisianaSports.net. Our Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. We'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show. You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Our Rad Dad contest is back and bigger than ever. Roaming Shot Outdoors and Citizens Bank and Trust bring you Dad's favorite gifts ever: a green egg thanks to Goodwood Hardware, a steak pack from Chris's Specialty Foods, Manly soap from Hawk Soap, and a hunting class for 2 from Roaming Shot Outdoors. Upload pictures at 1045ESPN.com now through June 8th. Then get your friends and family to vote June 9th through the 12th. Happy Father's Day to all those rad dads out there.
You know what my Father's Day plan is, Beck?
I'm going to guess nothing.
I have a plan.
I'm going to guess you're going to be doing nothing, though.
Well, I'm hoping that I have to do something.
Okay. What is that?
I'd be in Omaha.
Oh, well.
It's the first weekend of the College World Series.
I keep thinking for some reason that it's this weekend, but it's next weekend.
It's when I'm supposed to be in Omaha.
Yeah.
I will not be in Omaha if LSU loses tonight.
No, you won't.
They're underway over in Chapel Hill. It's North Carolina and Oklahoma. Tar Heels lead 3-2 in the third. Oklahoma just hit a 2-run homer to cut that 3-0 lead to 3-2. Be wild if Oklahoma wins this game. They'll have won the Chapel Hill Regional. and losing the game that Kyson Witherspoon pitched, which is not something I had in the playbook for the Oklahoma Sooners. But a lot of baseball today. You got Tennessee and Wake Forest that'll play a little bit later. You got Ole Miss and Murray State. You got LSU and Little Rock. You got Oregon State playing Southern Cal out in Corvallis. So lots and lots of baseball. To me, for LSU, it feels like it's hard for me to see LSU scoring like 5 runs tonight. I think it's 1 of 2. I think the dam completely breaks on Little Rock and LSU scores 13 or 14. Or it's like the Houston series in 2014 where LSU just goes into a 2-day complete rut and LSU scores like 1 or 2. And that also happened to Oregon State in the College World Series when LSU beat them. Lang got them, which Lang and Hess getting you half-ins. Caleb Gilbert, with a little help from the on-plate umpire, they just couldn't hit the ball. And for 2 days, a team that was 56-4, 59-4, whatever they were, couldn't hit. And that feels like the way out for LSU. If they just don't hit anything, they just keep popping up, ground balls to shortstop, and they score 1 or 2 runs. But hopefully that dam breaks on Little Rock and LSU puts up the 13.
All right, so what's your final prediction, Hunt?
I'll give it to you after we play a little bit of something we just got sponsored. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Shout out to Flight by Yingling. You heard it there. Just took 4 years to get that segment sponsored. It is summertime. Get the next generation of light beer. It's Flight by Yingling. Not Yingling Light, which is also very good, but Flight by Yingling. You're talking about just 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. I sampled this last week, picked it up at a local store, and it is crisp, it is cool, it is refreshing. It is perfect for the golf course, the pool, the grill, the ballpark. All summer long, Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. Beck?
Alrighty, first one here. You will win the Masters lottery. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it because I haven't entered.
Leave it alone.
That's going to make that tough.
I sent you the link, though, so you have
did.
no excuse now.
I could.
You have until June 20th to sign up.
Okay, I can make that happen. Buzzy was in the press box last night showing me his Augusta pictures.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Sad story for Buzz, though.
Yeah.
He had late tee time this year for their Augusta round that the volunteers get, and the darkness got him at the end. They had to stop late.
Dang. That's unfortunate.
He said he was going to shoot like 90-something, so he was
he gets to play every year, so he'll be all right. All right, next one here. If you win the Masters lottery, I'll get one of the tickets. Take it or leave it.
Probably going to leave that bet.
Leave it alone.
Got,
good to know.
Got some people that might come just before you on the list. You're on the list.
No, that's good.
But
Well,
the
at
list
least I'm on the list,
I mean,
guess.
if you got some folks that have other prior obligations the first weekend in April, potentially you could find your way.
Well, I was thinking about if I won, then I would probably bring you, but now I'm not sure about that.
Well, why not?
Well, because I have other people ahead of you on the list, probably. How about that? All right, next one. Thunder and Pacers in the NBA Finals. Take it or leave it.
This is not even intentional. I'll take it. Sure.
I'll take it.
I think apparently the Thunder are good. I have not watched a dribble in the NBA playoffs yet. It's not even intentional. I'm watching college baseball.
That Knicks game. You didn't end up. Okay.
I didn't end up watching. On the weekends. I'm watching all baseball. I got the SC tournaments going on.
Yeah.
I don't dislike the NBA. I just haven't gravitated over there.
Yeah,
How's Chet playing for the Thunder?
He's doing pretty well.
I hear Halliburton's getting buckets for the Pacers.
Yes, he has been playing extremely well. It's funny, like the NBA obviously are probably not very happy with this outcome. 2 small market teams, but at least they have the reigning MVP in it. But the Thunder just seem like they made the finals last year, so it seems like they're ready to take the next step in the Pacers. It should be a good series, but not the most exciting of teams.
The Pels need to get Sam Presti. That's my hot take. That would be good for them to get a guy that can win a lot in Oklahoma.
Just call
City.
up Gail, tell her, give him a blank check, tell him to come over here.
What does Sam think about it? Little Galatoire's lunch, maybe a little Arnaud's. What does he think about Mardi Gras parades? Get him over here.
Yeah. All right. Last one here. Saquon Barkley will be on the cover of Madden 26. Of course, won the Super Bowl Offensive Player of the Year, basically every accolade you could get as a running back. Barkley will suffer the Madden curse. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it.
Leave it alone.
The guy's a monster. He's probably going to run for another 2,000 yards.
Probably so.
Just dominate people because he's really good.
I don't think he's Peyton Hillis.
What was the deal with that?
Yeah. All right, that's take it or leave it.
Yeah, presented by Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer. All right, my pick. I got 20 seconds.
Yes.
10-5.
What?
LSU.
All right.
Win the regional, beat Little Rock in baseball. They're under 500 by like 20 games. And let's go play in a super against West Virginia next weekend and lower my blood pressure a little bit. I'll be at the box. You can read about it at LouisianaSports.net. Matt will drive you home and get you ready. I'll either be real happy tomorrow or real sad. We'll see you then.
The Hunt Palmer Show.